All right, here we go. Volume 1. My first podcast here. Man, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time now. I've always wanted to share something on a platform that I can use to my advantage with my social media and other platforms in order to just get a message across that could benefit other people. I feel like this podcast that I'm going to try to be doing for every 2 weeks can attract the right audience and impact a lot of people and many lives and lifestyles that many of those in the modern day are caught up in. Bad habits, dieting, exercising, poor decision making, maturity, relationships, spiritual things, that kind of stuff. So if you found your way to my podcast, I'm really excited for you to tune in to some things that I'm about to talk about coming up in the next few volumes of my podcast. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So if you follow my my Instagram account, you might be wondering why I blur my face out and stuff. It's not really. It's more so just a identity thing, because there's a lot of things that I'm going to be talking about that are kind of risky to put out into media with other people knowing my alias and who I am. I just want to get a message across to people that is unbiased and, sort of biased, but what I believe is the right decisions in furthering your progress and stuff that I'm going to be talking about. But I just wanted to go ahead and talk about some of my influences that I see and some of the things that impacted me in ways that made me want to start up the beginning of this podcast series. Number one is my good friend from college. I won't be saying his name, but he knows who he is, and I'm going to have him on the podcast here pretty soon. But he's really impacted me as far as exercising and bettering my diet and kind of shaping the way that I treat my physical self today. And so I feel like one of those would be him, and as well as some of you might know Solbra. He's this just icon, has same thing going on podcast. He uses his platform, Instagram, Twitter, mostly Twitter, but just some things that that you can use to better your lifestyle and in retrospect keep up with your physical health and mental health, and he's just a connoisseur of that type, so he really influenced me a lot. He helped me see a larger perspective with diet as well as overall well-being, so I believe that was a huge part of kind of what shaped me too. Another thing would just be pastime. Our ancestors, as far back as the beginning of time, they used past remedies and organic and primal ways of keeping themselves in shape and healthy, and without any underlying other health issues there. But obviously you can't stop those. In the modern day, there's a bunch of setbacks like cancer and sickness, birth defects of those sort. But we'll get to those kind of things. So I'm just going to start off with myself. Finding my healthy niche. It took quite a while to transition into like a healthy lifestyle. Surprisingly, my entire family growing up never had any kind of junk food in the cupboards, or bad foods, or anything of that sort. So I was kind of molded in to what was supposed to be healthy for me every day, but it kind of took me to a different path as far as a lot of times parents, when they parent their kids, parenting is difficult, and a lot of times what you want to mold your child to be is a lot different. They end up being a lot different than what you want them to mold into, as far as like strictness goes. And you can't really turn down fried foods and stuff of that sort, when your house is full of healthy food that obviously as a kid aren't that tasty and interesting. But it took a really long time for me, and as they say, stupid as a stupid does. Being a child, I always found ways to get junk food, and a big part of that was my grandmother. She would always sneak me some McDonald's, or foods of that sort, fast foods, anything. She would make me these from scratch cinnamon rolls, and every morning that I would spend time with her, she always made me cinnamon rolls and fed me these sweet treats. And it was like heaven being over there every time I was over there, because it was just a huge break from what my parents were trying to feed me and what I didn't want to eat. And obviously it was a blessing and a curse. I was born with already genetically high cholesterol. I was due to have it shoot up for that 17, 18 years of my life. The way that I ate and the things that I did, my physical health, as well as my mental health. I will go into that in the future, but there's a lot of things that occurred in my life that kind of, I feel like, set me back, because I didn't have the right ground to stand on. And it took a lot of time for me to get used to that kind of stuff and realize that that stuff really doesn't matter, and you're supposed to move on from those kind of things. But I wanted to kind of go into some of the things that my mother would try to feed me. Some things like supply my diet with like fruits, vegetables, especially cucumbers, baked potato chips, grilled chicken. I really wouldn't eat these things on a daily basis, and of course I always found my way around it. But so around that time of graduating secondary school or high school, I took it to another level, and found myself entering the fitness phase of my young adulthood, which is, I think, a phase most guys go through, especially with things that they use to cope, as far as relationships or failing relationships, and bad mental health, things of that sort, or even just physical appearance. a lot of people just want to get into the gym and, maximize their physical capability. And I feel like that's really good. Knowing that the world we live in now, people encourage things that are setting us back tremendously as far as physical health goes, and the regulations that are set out by, health organizations, quote unquote, which, if you do look into that kind of stuff and you see the people that are, in the, the leading spots of those health organizations, they aren't healthy themselves. So, very hypocritical, but we'll get to that. But around the time of my graduation, my good friend, also genius caliber of a mind, we'll just say C, we started going to this small gym right outside of our high school. It was kind of just every other day. It was kind of going into the summer of graduation, and, we were trying to, get all jacked, for, trying to attract all the women and stuff. And, it was just kind of dumb, but not for the right reasons. But the gym we went to, it had plenty of machines, cables, racks, benches. We were kind of slow into getting into the swing of things, but it felt pretty empowering. It was one of the first things that actually made me feel proud of, what I was doing for myself. And honestly, that first, swing of getting into fitness is like, it's different for everyone, but mostly, you just feel like you can demolish anything. And, obviously being young, testosterone's high, just, you just feel like you have all this energy of being a big dude, but, I just couldn't stop that feeling, ever since I started. And, but we started a streak of just hitting the gym every single day. And, that was kind of our bond that molded us together. And, we even hit the gym like right before our graduation ceremony, like an hour before we were going to graduation. And, obviously in a cap and gown, you're thinking, well, like, obviously, you're not going to look huge in a huge ass gown, but, it was just fucking like, it was just what we thought, oh, we're going to look big in this, whatever. But, that was just ludicrous. Not ideal. But, kind of being the skinny, lanky 18-year-old kid that I was, I packed on muscle kind of quickly. Going back to what, my parents used to try to feed me, I would hardly eat because I couldn't find it satisfying enough, to eat. And I feel like I kind of developed a eating disorder, which kind of goes into the mental part of it. But, I kind of dwindled down into this lanky, bony kid. I could never hold weight either. My metabolism was super fast, and I feel like I could never fuel my body the way that I should have. And anyways, yeah, I packed on muscle kind of quick. I was only actually 128 pounds, kind of sitting around 5'10" and a half ish, 5'11". If you can kind of imagine what I looked like, after saying that, it was pretty rough. Many of the people that know who I am, I guess, from, advocating for this podcast, and if you're tuned in and you know who I am, I was pretty lanky. I was really little. But I kind of started that, concept of bulking and, surplus and, having a surplus, I wanted to maximize what I was eating, like as far as calories go. So it was over way what it should have been. Man, I was putting on a little bit of fat. It was kind of ridiculous. But at some moments, I would even, force feed myself food, and those long times of sitting down and really, having it be so difficult to just get your food down and get that last bite in. I really pushed myself to the limit, and as as far as anatomy goes, your stomach expands after a while of taking in more and more calories each day. That's how surplus works and how your body reacts to that. But anything I could put into my stomach, I was getting it down. Anything, I wasn't really paying attention to any nutrition labels as far as macros and things like that. I just looked at how many calories I was eating every day, and but so I gained a little bit of weight after moving to post-secondary school and college. I was about 4 hours from where I live now, or my whole life. But yeah, kind of moving into a place by myself was actually really scary, but I kind of eventually adjusted to how I spent my time. As soon as I moved in, every second I could get, me and my buddy C would spend time at the gym, and every day, before classes started. It was about a few weeks before classes had started when we moved in, but we were spending most of our time at the gym. And the first few weeks of moving in, there was hardly a day where we didn't hit the gym together. But eventually, after all the classes started, we kind of started separating ways at the gym because our time didn't really match up. He had a really busy schedule. I kind of had a busy schedule coming up. First, freshman classes were kind of overwhelming, and I wasn't really mentally prepared for it. And we kind of started to separate ways, me and C, at the gym, and because our time didn't really match up every day. But so I kind of started rolling by myself every single day. I kind of got to do more and experience more of kind of explore more of myself as far as fitness. I started paying attention to my diet a little bit more, and I was careful about things that I put into my body, and I was just able to do more being by myself, getting in more reps and things of that sort, and being to go on my time schedule and focusing on myself a little bit more than usual, which was nice. But you always kind of need that little bit of extra motivation, with other people. And yeah, so there's a little bit more to this kind of story of my life, but we're gonna get to that in my next episode, when I'm gonna have my really good friend Solar Prince on here, and we're gonna kind of talk about how we met in college, and kind of how we started transitioning and made that transition of dieting of that sort, and fitness, and quality time, and bettering yourself. But so that was that. I kind of want to talk a little bit more about after this phase of my life started coming around. There was obviously the COVID-19 virus came around, and I'm not going to speak much on that, but I'm not going to be that opinionated as of now, because some of the things I would say I could talk about for a while, so we'll save it for another episode. But yeah, kind of transitioning into college was hard too, as far as social life went. There were still parties and social gatherings, and going out to the bars and stuff like that when COVID was still going on. So as a freshman college kid, you move in, and there's a lot of things that you struggle with and have to push through, as far as like experiences go, trying new things, and meeting new people, and which is a normal thing. I feel like most people do go through that stuff, and learn from their mistakes, and things of that sort. But they say most people meet the friends they're gonna have for the rest of their life in college, which I feel, being a few years after that now, it's kind of like, it's true. I feel like I met a lot of people and made connections through post-secondary school, and have a lot of groups of people that I feel like I can go to when I need something, or if they need me. Those people know, obviously, that I would always be the kind of help if they need it. So, but transitioning into that was hard. I kind of started getting off the rails a little bit as far as my morals went. Kind of went down the drain. If you know me and know, what I was doing then, it was pretty hectic, and, a lot of bad mistakes. Um, um, Drinking alcohol and excessive amounts, and, you know, um, not staying sober, most of the time, but I still was trying to, um, hang in there with my fitness life. And, even after I'd wake up with hangovers and stuff every day, and, doing drugs and that kind of stuff, I pushed through that, and kind of found myself in some of the things that I experienced, and waking up the next day and going to the gym and hitting it hard and sweating it off. I felt like I kind of had a God complex going into that phase, because I felt like that I was invincible, and that um, I didn't need to be um, um, supervised and, told no. I felt like most of my life I hadn't really been told no a lot, and that kind of really affected me, as far as my decision making. And um, but I really kind of messed up my liver function, and the way that I function, my brain functioned. Um, just my physical appearance started to show it. Drinking, you know, so much, all the empty calories. Um, I wasn't really on the same page with that as other people. And when you're around groups of people and you're peer pressure to do that kind of stuff, which I feel like is mostly bullshit. Um, it's your life, and you decide what you want to do with it. But everyone's different, and most people end up getting peer pressured and addicted to these kind of things. And from my experience, of course, I felt like I was addicted to that kind of stuff, and going out and partying every single night and living that kind of life. It just really wasn't ideal for who I felt like I was made to be, and my purpose in life. you don't really think about how important it is to take care of your body. You only have one body for the rest of your life, and you should treat it as your temple, and um, take care of it, and fuel it with the right things, and um, you know just kind of that purpose that I have for this whole series of Way Sun Life is just finding your way through um, life experiences, and um, shining your brightest that you can, and really be the best that you can be. That's kind of what I strive for this series to be like, and I hope that you can take this and hopefully impact it, and use it to your advantage. All this information that I'm going to be putting out soon. But so anyways, I kind of started gaining weight around the middle of this phase that I was going through. A few months after moving into college, and working out every single day, and literally shredding all of my muscle fibers every single day, making sure that I was getting all my reps in, and eating a shit ton. It's just like you get to that point to where your body just starts reacting in a certain way of mine was just packing on a little bit of fat and weight, and um, I would say almost a pound or two of lean muscle mass in a series of 6 months, which was really huge for me. It's very hard to gain lean muscle, and you really don't think about how hard it is until you actually try it, and you know it's something that's very hard to sustain too, and maintain lean mass, and having that complex of physical appearance that you want, and what you dream of, and what you see every day. But although I did gain about 40 pounds in maybe a series of 9 or 10 months, which was really huge for me. My body completely changed. I went from just being lanky, and of course I was vascular, but genetically, but I'd gained all this mass, and I just looked like a completely different person. And although I had what I had as far as physical appearance went, my mind wasn't mentally right, and my mental health was just spiraling, and I felt like I'd kind of lost myself for a while in all of the partying I was doing, and destroying my body and hurting it, and it just kind of, it's easy to get into a habit of living a day-to-day life, not caring about the things that actually matter, the things like physical health, mental health, keeping your body healthy, that kind of stuff. But it's easy, it's super easy from experience, just getting into that kind of stuff and not being able to get out. It's really hard. But I mean, it just, you learn from it, and the same as I did, you eventually start to mature and find your way through those kind of things, and you have to put in that kind of effort to find yourself again, and find out what your purpose is. To discover your purpose is a really huge deal. if you're stuck in some things like that. But so as far as what I want to take the future of this series is having a bunch of guest stars on this podcast series, all different volumes. I'm gonna have different people on here, and I'm just gonna be talking about certain things, topics, things that I find interesting. One of the main reasons it took me a while to start up a podcast is because you start to care about, if you're mentally insecure, you care about what other people think. It's really detrimental to your potential happiness and what you feel like you want to do every day. It stops you from doing those things, and it's huge to overcome something like that and be able to just post whatever you want and use your platform to spread a message that you feel is interesting, or the things that you like, or the things that everyone should be doing, is good. And you probably wouldn't think, but it definitely does make impact on certain people, even if it's not a large audience. I'm not really aiming to have this podcast blow up, or if it does, and all well and great, as long as I impact someone, or just a group of people would be amazing. I just want to promote healthy lifestyle, and kind of talking about some issues that I've gone through and life lessons that I've learned. And eventually, when I start people on here, just funny stories about memories we've had, and some of the things that we've gone through, and just interesting topics like conspiracies and stuff of that sort, and memes and all that stuff. But so there's a lot to come in the future. If you'd like to tune in, I'll be posting every 2 weeks, most likely just every Wednesday. So if you tuned in today, thank you so much for listening. I can't wait for the near future and all the things that I'm going to be bringing to this platform, and I'm excited to hopefully impact people and use this platform as an advantage, and really create my own niche with this kind of stuff. It's all new to me, so just bear with me, but I'm sure it's going to get a lot better in the future. But thank you for joining my podcast, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.